Good morning. It's 9:30 a.m. here in Boston, and it's time for another edition of Coffee with Coach Ted. There you go. So I am Coach Ted, your ADHD life coach and owner of Live Fully with ADHD. And this morning, I'm here to talk about making choices when you have ADHD. This was a question asked by a member of the Live Fully with ADHD Facebook group. And I want to invite you to take a look at that. I'll post a link after this Facebook Live to how to find the group. Love to have you join us. So I was thinking about making choices, and the story of the three bears kind of came to mind. Goldilocks and the three bears, obviously. And so we have Papa Bear, who likes to make decisions like now, quickly, impulsively. And then you have Mama Bear, who likes to take her time, think about it, and think about it, and think about it. Well, neither of those work too well. And then Baby Bear, he wants to get it just right? So I have some thoughts about how to get it just right. But first, I want to just talk a couple of minutes about some of the things that make making choices challenging for those of us with ADHD. But the first thing I want to say is, decision making, choice making has been researched quite a bit, and it turns out that it's challenging for everybody, not just people with ADHD. So I want you to keep that in mind when you're feeling challenged at making decisions. It's not just because of your ADHD. However, it's true that your ADHD does make it more complicated. And here's a rundown of a few reasons why that's true. So one is impulsivity. A lot of us with ADHD tend to be impulsive. That's one of the signs of ADHD. So it's like we don't want to think about it. We just want to make the decision. And I want it now. I want it when I want it. I want it now. So that's one issue, impulsivity, making impulsive decisions. Distractibility. Sometimes we're trying to make a decision and all the stuff going on in our mind just gets in the way and we get distracted and we're off on some other tangent. Also, poor working memory. So if we're thinking out, trying to think of choices and options and possibilities, and we can't keep it all in our mind, in our memory. Overthinking, ruminating. This is particularly true of the inattentive type. It's the Mama Bear thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it, also known as analysis paralysis. Nonlinear thinking. It can be tough for us to sort of think out over time the consequences of making a decision, of making a choice, because our minds don't tend to go in that linear fashion. Hi, Sherry. Thanks for joining this morning. Good morning. Emotionality. Our emotions can get in the way, whether that's anxiety or some kind of fear or anger, resentment. If we're in the throes of our emotions, it can be difficult to focus on making a decision. Hi, Karen. Welcome. Nice to have you. And finally, sort of brain fog, which is neurochemical deficiencies that can just make our thinking cloudy and make it more challenging to make choices, make decisions. So lots more can be said about each one of those, but that's just a quick rundown of some of the things that can make making choices challenging for those of us with ADHD. But what are some of the approaches you can take to help with that? Because this is not just about causes, it's always about solutions and strategies. So one thing you do is set a timer for 10 minutes, and then write down all the possibilities you can think of in terms of the choice you have to make. And take a look at them and come up with more possibilities. You're giving yourself time. And also you're writing it down, so you're seeing it visually. Excuse me. And you're generating possibilities rather than just sort of jumping to some the first thing that hops into your mind. Another way of writing things down is to write down pros and cons. Pretty traditional way of making decisions. But we forget about it. Again, the writing down slows us down, makes us think, and we're thinking about, well, what are the advantages, what are the disadvantages, can help make things more clear. And part of that is setting criteria. Criteria can be based on values. Bringing your values, what's most important to you, into the process. How are you going to decide what are the most important aspects of this choice? And what are the criteria? If you're looking at buying a new car, that's a very big choice, right? But, gas mileage might be something. Interior noise, which gets rated by Consumer Reports or Edmunds. Number of passengers it can carry. Variety of things. So that's just an example of setting criteria. Or if you're thinking of moving, what are the different aspects? Okay, setting criteria. Saying it out loud. I'm sorry, I can't read all your... Yeah, I know. Oh, Karen says you're currently looking at a new car. Well, I guess I'm psychic. Sorting. As Karen says, so stressful, so many things to decide on. That's true. That's true. There are lots of decisions to be made, and it can get overwhelming. You have to focus on them one at a time. I don't know what else to say. Prioritizing is important. Anyway, I'm going to get back to what I've been saying, but thanks, Karen, for the comment. So I mentioned focusing on values. What's most important to you in terms of this decision? If you're thinking about moving, what kind of place you want to move to? What kind of location? How's moving going to impact your life currently? Is now the right time? Things like that. Sometimes go with your gut. And less important values where it's not so important. It's like you're in the cereal aisle and you get overwhelmed. It's like, just close your eyes and pick one. Or, maybe it's the most sugar one with no sugar, but on the healthier end, just like pick something. Don't worry about it so much. Don't get so caught up in it. Give yourself a deadline by which you have to make a decision. And put it in your calendar, in your planner. Again, we can just put it off, that thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it, say, okay, it's time to decide. This is my deadline. Keep a record of your good decisions. One thing that can happen is because of the fact that we can have this history of making bad decisions, we stop trusting ourselves. We lose our confidence in decision making. So I keep a record in a notebook of your good decisions. So when you start feeling that lack of confidence, you can read those and say, yeah, I've made some good decisions. I can make good decisions. And then focus on making a decision. Talk to someone you trust. Always a good thing to do when you're trying to decide, again, and you're having trouble. particularly on a big decision. Talk to people that you trust. Yeah, and when you're making a decision, pay attention to your environment. Is it noisy? Is it a lot of distractions? That's not a good place for you to make decisions. And what about your kind of internal environment? Are you hungry? Are you tired? Have you taken your meds? Are your meds wearing off? Not a good time to make a decision. Again, if you're tired or hungry, take care of that before you focus on the decision. So those are a number of ideas of how to deal with making choices. It is challenging, but if you try some of these things out, I'd love to hear how they work for you. I guess that's going to be it for this morning. If you have further questions, please post them as comments. Also, if you'd like to connect with me further, please type #connect in a comment, and I'll get in touch with you by Messenger, and we can set up a time to chat. If you're watching this as a replay, type in #replay so I know you were here. And finally, again, I want to invite you to check out my Live Fully with ADHD Facebook group. I'll put a link into the comment. It's becoming a really interesting place. People sharing what's going on with them, asking questions, starting to support each other. That's what it's all about, to create a community of adults with ADHD who want support, want to give support, want to be connected with other people who have some of the same issues, share solutions, share challenges, share successes. Really important. So that's it for Coffee with Coach Ted this morning. One more sip. Sherry and Karen, thanks for being here. Anybody else who's watching, thanks for being here. Please sign in and say hi when we're done here. And that's going to be it. So have a great Monday. Have a great week. And I will be back 9:30 Eastern Standard Time on Friday morning with another Coffee with Coach Ted. Ciao.